Hello, folks. Welcome to the Weekend Investing Daily Bite of 4th of April, Friday. I'm glad the week is coming to an end, but the market worries are not coming to an end. Uh, as I'm recording this near 4 p.m., there is news that China has imposed 34% or somewhere near that figure tariffs on US imports into China. And this is becoming a full blown war of tariffs. This is the modern day, way of uh, attacking your opponent. There is no physical movement of any kind, no military is needed. Just destroy the other person on economics, and you've achieved your purpose. That seems to be the case, and in the fight of these two, big entities, other smaller ones are going to get crushed. So no good news from the markets today. Markets collapsing under the weight of US markets collapsing last night. Remember, we had sustained the first tariff news yesterday without much damage, but last night there was mayhem in the US markets, almost 5% down on NASDAQ. I think $2 or $3 trillion lost since the announcement. Um, Complete mayhem. Let's see where we are going with this. Is this Trump's biggest self goal? That's the topic that we will discuss today. I'll take some case study there and see where we are going. Disclaimer, please read fully the disclaimer, understand it fully, and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't so far. Where is the market headed? So markets have completely got smashed today, 1.5%. You may say 1.5% is nothing in front of 5% fall in US markets. Uh, but we were on a very decent footing till the tariff news came. You can see here that we were right here, not willing to go down, but this external force has forced us to seek lower ground. I'm sure the FII numbers today are going to be big sell. Let's see what they come out in the evening. But right now we are again on a path down, and very rapidly so. Let's see where we are able to stop. 1.5% down on Nifty. Junior also losing 2.5%, so smashed down. It was stable for 6 7 days, but could not sustain today. 2.5% gone there. 2.9% down on mid caps, again smashed down, and even more on small caps at 3.3%. So we are back to the days of getting smashed. This honeymoon of last 4.5 weeks seems to be getting over, unless there is some respite from the tariff war, which doesn't seem like coming very soon, because China has today acted against the US, and there are more news of detail on pharma, for instance, tariffs coming on 9th of April. So this is not just ending today, it has got extended to next week, and this is going to be quite messy, is what I think. Bank Nifty somehow managed to escape all this route, down only 0.18%. So at least some space in the market has got saved today. Gold also feeling the jitters, minus 0.61% for INR gold, still near 90,000. No major damage done. Yesterday was a huge volatility day for gold in the evening. It went from nearly 88,500 to 92,000 and back and forth. And today it's nearly 90,000. Market breadth, very bad market breadth. Uh, 42 gains to 458 declines. Um, and it's the worst market breadth we've seen in some time. CNX 500 losing 2% there. Heat map completely red, so you can see IT, which was getting smashed earlier as well, also getting smashed today. Energy stocks joined the pack today. So ONGC, Reliance, Coal India smashed down because oil is collapsing. Oil went down 8% yesterday. There is now a specter of a discounting of a recession in the markets in the US. Um, and along with that, metals got clobbered. I mean, Tata Steel down 8.6%, Grasim, Hindalco, uh, everything that you can see there on the screen was smashed down. Pharma stocks down, Sun Pharma, Cipla, Dr. Reddy, all down. Some green in FMCG and some green in banking space, but State Bank of India not uh, staying there in the green and going to the red. Next 50 space, very red. Vedanta smashed down 8.5%. Jindal Steel 6%. Some of the big losers: DLF, PFC, Lodha, REC, Siemens, ABB. So we are back to those extremely disturbing kind of sessions. And now again we'll have to go seek a bottom somewhere before we can think of building back up. So this entire setup of going up seems to got disturbed now, and we are now back to the bear market uh, ways. Metals down 6.6% in a day. I mean, how many times have you seen a major sector losing 6.6% on the index? Real estate 3.6%, oil and gas 3.8%, pharma 4%, IT 3.6%, energy 3.7, commodities 3.7, capital markets 3.6. So completely, mayhem everywhere. FMCG saved 0%, financial services saved 0.2%, private banks saved minus 0.1%. These are some of the safer avenues in the market. Metals, complete rout there, minus 6.5%. Hindustan Copper 9% down, Vedanta 8.5%, National Aluminium 8.5%, Tata Steel 8.5%, Hindalco 8%, NMDC 7.6%. So this entire move that we got here from March, almost that is almost already given back up. Not very good news at all. Now let's come to the topic of discussion for today. Is this Trump's biggest self goal? I believe it is. While it is being said that these are short term pains for long term gains, the intent probably from President Trump's perspective is right. He won on the mandate of MAGA, Make America Great Again, and this is his way of attempting that. It may screw everybody else and him and his own country. That's a different discussion for another day. But the intent of making things right for America is right from his perspective. We have gotten used to lower tariffs, perhaps, and we need to get lesser reliant on the USD or on the US markets. That is a problem that we have to figure out. But from his perspective, from US perspective, the intent of trying to get manufacturing back, trying to get jobs back, trying to make sure that Wall Street is not screwing the Main Street all the time. I think those are, I would say, the sort of rhetoric that he was making for a long period of time before he was elected in. So he's doing his job probably. I don't know how good or bad that attempt is, but in my view, this is a big self goal that is unlikely to yield the results that are intended. Why? Because number one, let's take an example of something getting manufactured in China or in Vietnam. If it's selling for $100 in the US, it probably gets made for maybe $10 in a factory in Vietnam. You've put 50% tariff on that. Now it may cost you $15. You are still able to have that margin of the delivery that is there. If that manufacturing comes to the US, you'll probably make it in $50 because that cheap labor is not available in the US and everything is not currently on automated factories, and it can't be made tomorrow. If there are American companies who have factories all over the world, they cannot bring those factories to the US tomorrow. It may take 4 or 5 years, and by that time, who knows, Trump may not exist as the next president, and that is unlikely to happen. But there is some murmur about the third term they'll manage somehow. I don't know. Anyhow, so this is a big sort of issue for all companies now. What should they do? I mean, if they stay with manufacturing where they are, they lose. If they try to bring manufacturing to the US, they lose again. So the entrepreneur or the corporates are losing. The consumers are going to get so badly hit. Already people are projecting that inflation in the US is going to go through the roof because everything is going to get very expensive. All the tariffs are going to get passed on ultimately to the consumer. The demand may collapse a bit, and the consumer may have to face higher price. Now, Trump's counter argument is that we'll give taxation benefits to our citizens. Well, what about those citizens who hardly pay any tax? What about that lowest bracket, which is a bulk of bulk of the market in every country. So they are not going to get any tax benefit because they hardly pay any tax. What happens to them? So I think this is a very big self goal. I don't know how this is going to get solved. The markets are crashing. The US markets are crashing much more than any other market. So that itself is a very clear indication that who the markets think is going to get hit the most. While yes, the suppliers are going to get hit, but the buyers are going to get hit the most. S&P 500 has collapsed yesterday, and as I speak, I have not updated the chart, but this futures chart of S&P 500 is down, another 2% while we are speaking this. The broader market, the US Russell 2000, just see where the economy is. We have gone up less than 10% now from 2018 point. So 7 years, and we are up 10% on US Russell 2000, which is the most broad-based, more broader-based index of small caps and mid caps in the US market. So if you remove those seven magnificent stocks and all those things, I mean, it's already hurting in America. And if you bring this on more for the American companies, I mean, it is the biggest self goal. Just look at what happened to the top companies in the US last night. Apple losing 9% market cap, Nvidia 7.8%, Google 4%, Meta 9%, Amazon 9%. I mean, these are $2 to $3 trillion each company. And if they're losing 10%, 8%, they're losing 200 to $300 billion of market cap in just a single day. And today, tonight, it is likely to be even more. So this is a very big self goal done by the American president on his own people. What began as a optimism, about this agenda that will make America great again, has turned into a complete, a market anxiety event, where S&P 500 has already lost $4 trillion in market cap, and tariffs are now seen as a potential catalyst for a downturn. So the market is now trying to discount a recession that is likely to come. There is a conspiracy theory also where people are saying that President Trump is engineering this fall so that interest rates can be brought down, and so that the masses in general will get happier in terms of Wall Street getting hit. Let's take a look at a case study of Nike. Some people call it Nike, some people call it Nike. I call it Nike. Let's go with Nike. So we'll take a look at this case study. Now, Nike is an American company. It has some great market share. The revenue of this company is upwards of $50 billion. So just you can just imagine um, the enormity of the operation that exists, of which $21 billion is just from American market. Rest is of course rest of the world. Now market share, they have some 38% market share in global footwear market. Uh, Athletic footwear is about 30%. Sneaker market is 38%. But the biggest point is that 50% of their production is in Vietnam, 27% is in Indonesia, and 18% is in China, and they will be subject to this tariff now. So American company which has manufacturing bases across the world so that they are able to get cheaper manufacturing done there is going to get creamed by this new tariff now. I mean, isn't that funny? The issue for Nike, so supply chain, 95% of footwear production is from Asia, heavily reliant on Vietnam. Vietnam, 46% additional tariff, Cambodia, 49%, Indonesia, 32%, China, 34 plus 20%. So, significantly, the cost of goods that are coming into the US, even for the American company, is going to go up, and the profit margins are going to get crushed. Vietnam becomes Nike's Achilles heel. The dependency on Vietnam cannot be, overnight. You cannot just forgo that. Uh, there is going to be increased costs, much higher retail prices hitting the US consumer, and margin compression will happen because there is going to be you know a pressure on operations everywhere. So there'll be layoffs, there'll be squeezing of raw material suppliers, operational challenges, relocation is very difficult, and the specialized infrastructure and skilled labor they employed and enjoyed in Vietnam is no longer available. So how might Nike respond? They may absorb part of the increased costs. They may raise product prices. They may offer discounts. Long-term strategy may be to move some manufacturing closer to maybe Mexico, maybe perhaps to India as well. So I think India, in this war between China and America, once again, there is an opportunity for India to play a smart role. I don't know how much of that will happen or not, because we are always stuck in a lot of bureaucracy and slow moving things. But this opportunity is there. I mean, these countries have been hit with much higher tariffs. There is an opportunity there for Indian manufacturers to come forth, but I don't know how much of that is happening. Um, and of course, the risk is that you lose market share, you lose margins, and whatnot. And how the investors are responding here in this case. Nike, can you believe it, is down to a level where it was almost 10 years back. Can you imagine that a company like Nike, which is the largest brand that which has a recall in your mind, has given zero returns to his investors for over a decade. And while it has been coming down in the past, this last few uh, months since Trump came in have been excruciatingly bad for the company. And tonight the futures, the pre-open already points to much lower levels on Nike. So what President Trump is trying to get at is that there should be a quick change of how the world is wired. It can't happen. It can't happen overnight. It will take half a decade for this to happen. But the message that he has sent to US partners, corporate suppliers, is that we are a unpredictable buyer now. You need to be wary of us. You need to deleverage your US orientation. And Indian companies need to learn from this, that you cannot be dependent on one country's demand, however much demand may be there. This is basically about risk management. If any company has 80% exposure to one country, which many of our IT product companies do, for instance, then that is poor risk management from that company. Here again, I can say, of course, with the hindsight, and it's very easy for me to say, Nike's over dependence on Vietnam, 50% or more production coming from there, is a risk element that they went with. And India could not get any major chunk of that going forward. So let me know in the comments what is your take on this matter. I think the American consumer, the American corporate, the American investor are all going to get hurt much more than others. If the whole world is going to hurt, but it's going to be hurting much more for the Americans. I don't know if there is any solace in that if others are getting hurt and we are getting hurt less, that's a good thing. But I think Trump has put his seal on one matter, that he will always be remembered in the history as the most unpredictable and volatile and shooting from the hip kind of a president, and the world will remember him. Let me know what you think about this. Do like and share this video if you did, and do subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Bye.